G'day guys, Fishin Straya here. Today I'm back, I'm bringing it back. I started at the end of last season, then I went a little bit MIA. So we're back for another Fishin Straya Tackle Talk episode. So what I've done so far this season, I've done Echo twice. I've had success out of Echo twice. Also, a good tip for Lake Echo is to tie your boat up better and make sure your rope doesn't snap. But we're going to just leave that aside and move on. So pretty much Lake Echo last Saturday, so 2 Saturdays ago, me and Alex Vogler decided to go for a drive up to Echo on the Sunday, and we had a wicked session. We bagged 30 fish. Within like 4 hours, we went and fished Bronte, and Bronte wasn't firing. She was pretty low. So we went and moved up to Echo, and we absolutely killed it. Like, had a double up in our first 4 casts. So I'm just pretty much just going to run through what I was doing at Lake Echo, what tackle I sort of have been running there, what lures I've been catching them, leaders and that. But so anyway, I'm going to jump right into it. And first of all, structure-wise, so at Lake Echo, I don't know, if you haven't been to Lake Echo, it's a pretty rocky, sticks everywhere, like heaps of logs in the water, heaps of rocks. It's a very deep lake, like the bank that I was sort of fishing, like it had just went like that, like straight. You'd be 10 metres out and you're in 8 metres of water. So, well, I did actually find myself using soft plastics. Usually that's not really much of a thing for me. Like, I'm usually all hard bodies, love ripping hard bodies throughout rocky banks, reeds and stuff like that. But yeah, we went on a nice rocky shore and we found a good patch of fish. So first of all, I'm going to start through sort of rods and reels and stuff like that. So pretty much what rods I like for there. So I run 7'8" rods when I'm fishing out of my tinny, just because that extra cast, good English, that extra cast length is like awesome. Like if you can cast a lure an extra 10 metres, like if you're using a 6-foot rod, you're somewhat limited, but like if you've got a 7'8" rod, I know it's like pretty big and can get in the way if you're in a river and stuff like that, but if you fish out of a boat predominantly, and you can get yourself a 7'8" or something like that, or even a 7-foot, so it's a little bit less exotic. They're wicked. Like I've got a couple of longer 7'8" rods coming on the way that I'm gonna absolutely love. But yeah, she's gonna get a rest. This old 7'8". I've had it for a couple of years, but yeah, longer rods and like thin whippy rods. Like this is a 1 to 3, and I can't really get a good whip, but like pretty bendy, very whippy, just like casting light lures, like your 60s, your 70mm lures, plastics, like you feel a whole lot more with a nice light whippy rod compared to something like a 2 to 4 or a 2 to 5. We've got a little visitor. Penny's come in to say hello. But yeah, moving on. And the other thing is recently I'm halfway through the process of making my transaction to all my rods and reels being Shimano. I've had this Stratic CI4 for probably about 3 years, and I've just thrown everything at it, like salt water, fresh water, like dropping bigger rigs down when it's just been the only rod I've had, and catching like a lot of the trout I've caught out of Crescent have been on this. My dog is having a go at a pillow. That's great. We'll get back on track. We'll just blur her out. I absolutely love the Shimano rods, and I'm really looking forward to getting another batch of Shimano reels. The newest Stratic I've got coming on the way, so that'll make a appearance in a fair few of my videos. But yeah, Shimano is like, it's top quality gear, and nice and lightweight, reels, and perfect drag systems for trout. So anyway, we've dealt with rods, we've dealt with reels, we've dealt with structure. Now I'm going to move on to my leader. So I've recently like been trying out the new Black Magic Tackle Subpool Fluorocarbon. Like she's pretty, like it's really bouncy, like nice and stretchy. It goes everywhere. It doesn't like, it's not thin like other fluoros. Like I've fished a couple of fluoros and they've just been really stiff, and like sometimes it can throw your lure out of action like a little bit, but it's just super stretchy, and it's 6 pound, but it's still pretty thin. So I at Lake Echo, we didn't get any huge fish. Like a lot of the fish were slabby sort of conditions, like sort of like your 50 centimeter 2-pounders if we were lucky sort of thing. But I'd almost say that was almost our average, like a 1.5 2 pound for our fish. They just sort of got better and better. But I definitely would run 6 pound at Lake Echo just because of the structure, and like you're always near rocks, you're always casting at a tree, and if you're going to hook up to a half decent fish, you want to have a little bit of solid line behind you. You can put a little bit of herd on and get the fish out of the structure. But yeah, that's been something new for me that I've only started using this season, Black Magic Tackle Leader, but I've absolutely been loving it so far. So that's definitely one that's worthwhile getting a spool of. Next off, we'll move into the lures. So there was pretty well much, a couple of key lures. So first of all, I started my morning fishing with the Fishin Straya 63mm in golden trout. So like they're just a great versatile lure. So there's a they're a suspending lure, so you can really rip down and just pause it, and it'll, you know, sit there. It won't sink or anything like that. And the other thing is you can work these at like a heap of different depths. So like if you're fishing shallow and you high stick your rod and pause it, it'll stay that 30 centimeters out of the water. So like with a lure like this, you're perfect to cast right onto the bank and then just sort of high stick it until you get out into a little bit deeper water, and then really start to rip it down. And like you can get them down to almost 2 meters, 1.5, 2 meters if you're really ripping it down. We were finding they were very specific on pauses. So like I'd twitch, pause, or like I'd do 3 twitches or 4, or sometimes I'd do 5, but just like always mixing it up, just like couple of quick twitches and then a pause for like 3 seconds. And a lot of time you just see that little tick and on your line, and then should be on. So I used a couple of the 63mm lures. So I used the golden trout pattern. I also caught a few fish on the brown trout pattern in the 63s. I'll just get one of them out to show you guys. Similar sort of style, but a little bit lighter. And I almost find, because it was snowing and then it was sunny, I found when it was sunny, the golden trout was better. But when it was that little bit less bright, they were more in tune to your actual brown trout colours, nice and matte colours, not reflective colours. So that's one thing that I noticed. And I caught a fish or two on it. It wasn't the killer throughout the day, but it definitely worked when they were getting a little bit slow. I'd throw the 63 brook trout, just like that light green belly underneath it. I found when fish are really tough, sometimes you can just like twitch the hell out of them, and fish will come on and they'll just get onto it and grab one. And yeah, that was the other thing that worked for me. And then after a while, Alex started to catch them on soft plastics, so I made the change over. I was fishing a 1/8. You'd almost get away with fishing a 1/6, or like realistically you don't want to be any lighter than a 1/8, just because first of all that casting distance is wicked. Like if you're fishing the bank and you've got one person fishing the shore, and if you're at the back of the boat fishing plastics and you've got like a 1/6 or something, you can really fly a cast out into those sticks and just like get it down, because a lot of them were close to the bottom, but there was also a fair few, like sometimes I was just hopping it through the middle of the water and I was still picking up fish. But just the same thing, like just hop and then just let it sink. And a lot of the times they'd grab it on the sink, but there was a couple of times where they did actually chase my lure up and come up and have a strike right next to the boat. But yeah, so she's a little bit rugged now, but that was one of the Rapala Crush City little soft plastics. They're a new soft plastics. Nice, slim size, pretty stretchy. I caught a fair few fish on this one plastic, and it was the only one of that colour that I had. So I used it a fair bit and got a fair bit of success on that. So pretty well much, as long as you're using the right sort of black, silver, gold, brown colours, you're pretty well set to catching yourself a fish at Lake Echo. Like obviously long rods and like nice Shimano reels will definitely help, but it's been fishing really well. So if you're looking at going up the lake sometime and want to have a crack, Echo's a pretty good one to go and have a look at. She's a fairly rough track in to their Lake Echo boat ramp, so just sort of want to have a little bit of a reliable vehicle. Like, doesn't have to be a full-on four-wheel drive, but just a little bit bigger than your stock standard car, and you'd most likely get in and get onto some fish. But yeah, this weekend I'm going to head down to the Derwent River, fish with the London Angling Club, and fish for sea runners against a fishing club from down south. So I'm about to tie up for that, get some lures on, and get ready to head down tomorrow. Thank you all for watching another episode of Fishinstraya Tackle Talk. I'm definitely going to get back into posting like 2 videos a week, a tackle talk video and an actual fishing video, especially coming back into summer. So got some cool things lined up too. So, oh well, be patient, wait for me to go out and catch some fish, and then enjoy the video. So anyway, I'm going to leave you guys to it. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Yo!